Hey folks, how are we doing? Welcome back to the Bocce Piles channel. And we are continuing to play the Dreadhorde in Vintage. We'll see if we're going to play against Dredge decks every round again or what. But yeah, we're continuing to play the Gitaxian Probe, 4th, Poxwalker, where there used to be some Mindbreak Traps. The one change I've made here from last week is I cut the Echoing Deeps for the 3rd Mindbreak Trap, which I just never wanted. And we did have some close games against Jewel Shops, so I wouldn't mind another, Mindbreak Trap there. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Jamming Bazaars is a lot of fun, so let's get into it. Okay, we've got a potentially pretty good hand here with Chalice and Bazaar, and maybe some fast Vengevines. This Poxwalker is at least coming into play. So yeah, let's keep. All right, Volcanic Island, Mox Jet. Dreadhorde Arcanist. Okay. And a pass. Force of Vigor. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I mean, if we hit another Rootwalla here, I guess the most Vengevines we can play this turn is 1. But I'm definitely activating Bazaar straight away. Okay. I could discard 2 Vengevines and Poxwalker and just go for a big turn next turn. Or I could get the Poxwalkers into play. So I think I want to discard Poxwalkers, Blazing Rootwalla, Vengevine. And then we're probably going to be pitching a Vengevine to Force of Vigor their Mox Jet. Like, I don't want to wait to get Poxwalkers into play and get Wastelanded. And alternatively, I could discard Vengevine, Rootwalla, and start attacking with a Vengevine. Maybe that's better, actually. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to do that. And I'm sure we'll get the chance to reanimate Vengevine later. Okay, let's do that. Or reanimate Poxwalker later, I mean. We'll play 1 Rootwalla. Play another Rootwalla. We do have the potential option to just keep this Vengevine on defense. The Poxwalker would have come into play tapped. But what are we working with? Do they have like Ancestral Recall? What do we see? Force of Will, Flooded Strand. Wow. We hit the hollow one. So that's pretty good. Okay, well, we just have like a crazy position now. Okay, opponent concedes. Okay, so do we want to make any changes? We could potentially bring in Fury for something. Chalice on the draw is not that exciting. So maybe we bring in like a Fury. I don't know if they're playing Bowmaster. We could maybe cut the Probe. I mean, Probe was really good there, but I mean, we were going to win anyway. I don't want to cut Force of Negation against the Dreadhorde deck. And then Force of Vigor is hard to cut because they have Pithing Needle. I mean, shutting off Dreadhorde might be good. Maybe we can afford to go down to 2 Poxwalkers. All right. All right, our hand does not have Bazaar, so I'm going to mulligan. Neither does this one, so I'm going to mulligan again. Okay, we are striking out on the Bazaars. And this hand does not have Bazaar either. So what do I want to keep in the deck? Probably Squee, Hollow One, Misstep. And we're going to powder again. Mulligan. We're going to powder. 4 cards. What do we want? Master of Death. Grip Mine. Force of Will. Noxious Revival. Probably fine. Mulligan again. We mulligan again. Well, we just aren't getting any bazaars here. All right. I went a couple, videos without mulliganing to 0. I'm just going to see if I can draw Bazaar of Baghdad and then, probably concede to anything my opponent does. Turn 1 Brainstorm from the opponent. All right, Mox Jet. Not rip Bazaar, but Misstep has some play to it. Okay, the opponent is Saga Gaming. Force of Negation, okay. Hull Breacher. Can't stop that. Yeah, we're going to take some damage from this Breacher. Probably going to just concede here. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so we know they're on Breacher, Sagas. Maybe I'll trim a Force of Negation. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just trim a Poxwalker and get the Chalice back in. Play no Poxwalkers and bring back the Probe. We'll try it. All right, we have not seen Bazaar in a whole bunch of hands here. Here we go. Yeah, this one looks pretty good. We'll put back the Serum Powder. All right, so we'll just play and activate Bazaar here. We want to get Hollow One into play. We're going to get Vengevine into play. That's exciting. So discard Vengevine, Blazing Rootwalla. So what do I care about more here? Force of Vigor. It would hit a Saga. I guess I can just save the Force of Vigor. I can just discard the Master of Death. But then we're off of Force of Negation. Force of Vigor would hit a Saga. I think I want to discard the Master of Death and take my chances. So we don't need a turn 1 Force of Negation. Saga is kind of a big problem. And Master of Death is a good one to discard. So I think I'm going to do that. So we have a Rootwalla in play. A Hollow One. I think this is an important learning moment. Is Force of Vigor or Force of Negation more important? Maybe Saga is just too slow. All right, they're cracking their Delta. Ox Sapphire. Ox Pearl. Dak Faden. Yeah, I wish I had my Force of Negation. They can steal Hollow One here. Well, the Force of Vigor is not going to be too terrible, is the good news. We'll go into their end step and Vigor the Hollow One and the Sapphire. They thankfully don't have Force of Will also. Get back the Master of Death. Noxious Revival. Interesting. So do I want to activate Bazaar here? I kind of think not. I'm gonna go ahead and attack the Dak Faden. The Rootwalla. My opponent with Vengevine. And then I think I want to see what they want to do. And if we want to discard this Master of Death or pitch it to Force of Negation. Kind of avoid the conundrum we were in on turn 1. Well, they're just holding up mana. Kind of suggests that they have Hull Breacher. If I Noxious Revival back the hollow one, then I activate Bazaar. I don't have any cards in hand with which to play the hollow one. A Braid, okay. Let's activate Bazaar here. So we're gonna draw a card. So I could Vigor or Noxious Revival back the hollow one and like Wasteland my opponent. So Masters of Death, Force of Negation, Force of Negation. Noxious Revival back, hollow one. Ravenous Trap, okay. Draw a card. Not a terrible one. Get them down to 10. Then I get to Wasteland a Volcanic here. I mean, maybe it's greedy, but I don't want to expose them to Urza's Saga. Sorry, I don't want to expose myself to Hull Breacher. They still have Hull Breacher mana here. So I guess I'm going to attack with a Rootwalla. And we're going to find out if they have Hull Breacher. They don't have Hull Breacher. Discard the Master of Death. And I think I'm going to hold on to this Noxious Revival. I mean, I could... They have the Flooded Strand to shuffle anyway. But what we can do is Noxious Revival back this Wasteland. Make sure we don't lose to Saga. Or maybe we'll just Wasteland their Volcanic. My opponent's doing nothing. So I am going to Noxious Revival back this Wasteland. Get back my Master of Death. Draw a Wasteland. Activate Wasteland. And then I think we're just activating Bazaar here. It's all fine. Our draw engine is coming together. Ravenous Trap, okay. Well, we're still beating down. All right, so we pass it back. The opponent continues to hit their manas. Another Master of Death. Well, I'm going to activate the Bazaar here. And I'm going to get in for 1. And I'm a little sad to lose Fury. But at least we have our Bazaar engine going with this Master of Death. We're going to abrade my Rootwalla. Well, that's a trade I can accept. Get back Master of Death. Draw a card. Force of Negation. Okay, I think I'm going to hold up Force of Negation here. Seems like they probably drew that land. All right, discard some things. So our Bazaar engine is still going strong after a couple of Ravenous Traps here. Yield to these. Get back the Master of Death. Wasteland. I think I'm just gonna activate Bazaar here. I guess I should have done that before the Wasteland. I'll just discard the Master of Death, yep. Then we have yeah, Force of Will. Our engine is going. I think I can afford to, yeah, just hold up the Wasteland here in case they draw a Saga, because I can force whatever they do. Yeah, like whatever this is. Okay. Going to get back our dudes. Blazing Rootwalla. Let's activate. Vengevine, Squee. Well, let's see. Well, we're definitely discarding the Master of Death. I guess I can just keep the say this. Okay. I can just hold on to these. And I'm going to be wastelanding my opponent here. I think I probably actually should just Force of Vigor them. And leave them with as little as possible going on. Float some mana. They don't have anything. Ponder. Okay. They chose not to shuffle. Wonder if that means more Ravenous Traps. Vengevine. Yeah, I'm just going to activate the Bazaar here. Another Bazaar in Wasteland. So do I want to like play around Ravenous Trap? I kind of don't need another Bazaar. I'll just discard the Master of Death. I'll get in for one. And then play out the Wasteland. Now we're protected against the Saga. Alright, they found that Ancestral. Okay, they're not going to activate their Delta, so that explains why they kept their Ponder. Get back some of these guys. Hollow one, that's pretty good here. Alright, let's just activate Bazaar. Alright, Squee. Squee. Master. I'll attack with the Blazing Rootwalla, and then play the hollow one. Okay. So they've got one turn here. Maybe this is gonna get like Force of Willed. Okay, we're passing it back. They're cracking their fetch. Interesting. Definitely gonna like Wasteland whatever this is in Noxious Revival. Something to the top of their library. What do I want to Noxious Revival? Braid seems like a hard one for them to cast, although it would be a good one if they do manage to cast it. I mean, the Ravenous Trap doesn't affect the game, what we have in play at all. It would be annoying if we lost our dudes, but we also know it's coming. I could put like a Mox Pearl on top. That lets them play like a Hull Reacher, which might buy them a turn, which kind of undermines the point of the Noxious Revival. So with all that in mind, I think I just have to give them a Ravenous Trap here. I think I'm gonna go for that, since it does not affect the board, and we'll see if this pays off. Okay, they do have to burn a Force of Will on my Noxious Revival on their Ravenous Trap. Down to 2. They find a Time Walk. Okay. We're into extra turns. Okay, the opponent conceded on their extra turn. All right, well, yeah, I definitely should have held up Force Negation over Force of Vigor on that very first turn. But, you know, it was an interesting game 3 there. Lots of trapping. All right, let's get to round 2 here. All right, we got a pretty nice hand on the draw for round 2 with Force of Negation, double squeeze, bazaars, and hollow ones. About as good as you could draw it up. So let's keep. Opponent's kicking it off with Mox Emerald, Ancient Tomb, Mana Vault. So do I want to Mental Misstep this or just like Force of Negate their One Ring? I think I'd rather Force of Negate the One Ring, and this is going to be getting in for extra damage. There's Divining Top. Well, I'm really waiting for the One Ring here. Here it comes. Or maybe the Tinker. Paradoxical outcome. Close enough. The opponent does get to spin their top. So yeah, if they actually have a Force of Will on top, they're going to get there on their PO. Looks like they got there because they are tapping the top. Yep, that's bad news. Okay. So their income, paradoxical outcome resolves. They play a bunch of artifacts. Ancestral Recall, that's a pretty good one. Sapphire, Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, top. Spinning the top. Cashing in the top. Karn the Great Creator. Myconsilth Lattice. Okay. That would cost 6 mana to play. We're gonna have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 4, 6, 9. Yeah, so it is enough to Karn for bridge. Then play the Myconsilth Lattice. Probably I should just concede and not reveal more about what I'm doing. I think I probably have to do that, right? Okay. All right, well, we get to bring in our 3 Mindbreak Traps. And I'm just going to board out some Poxwalkers. And I don't think there'll be any other changes. All right, so our opening hand has Bazaar and 1 Force. So hopefully we Bazaar into a blue card. I think that has to be the plan. I'm just going to do it right away in case we hit like Vengevine blue card. We hit Vengevine blue card, so I mean that's pretty good. So we'll cast with Madness. Just yield to these. Cast with Madness. Vengevine's in play. We're getting it in for 4. Okay. Opponent's at 16. Can they beat 1 counter spell, basically? because that is what we are representing. Yeah, I'm not going to counter the Grim Monolith or the Mox Opal. Here's the Tinker. Hit it with a Mindbreak Trap. Okay, that resolved. There's some crazy follow-up. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Our opponent does not have the nuts every game, it would appear. Yeah, no reason not to activate Bazaar here. Nice. We'll put this Rootwalla into play. Get in for 6. And I'm not going to worry about Saga, which I'm pretty sure is too slow. Especially if they lose this Crypt Flip, which they do not. Put Seagate Restoration into play tapped. Nice. Another blue card. We can force plus Mindbreak Trap in 1 turn. I don't see a reason to activate Bazaar here. Yeah, I'm just going to pass. Managed to win both Crypt Flips. We'll need to do something pretty good here to beat my counterspell. Okay, great. Yeah, the PO or Dual Shops matchup is pretty popular, and my one regret, I think I just wish I had a 4th Mindbreak Trap 75 somewhere. But yeah, I don't anticipate making any changes here. Well, this would be a pretty sick hand if it had Bazaar, but it doesn't, so I'm going to powder. This is a pretty sick hand with Bazaar, so I'm going to keep. You got a couple counter spells here. Okay, Saga. We'll need to find an answer for that one. And pass the turn. Okay. Vengevine. Okay. Well, what are we going to Bazaar into here? Strip Mine. So there's an answer for the Saga. Let's discard Squee. Vengevine. And Serum Powder. I think I want to save the Rootwalla to try to trigger that Vengevine. And I want all these all these counter spells here. The opponent's gonna get to make maybe a Saga or a Construct token here. And so we'll just have to beat that. Alright, it's Mana Crypt. Mana Vault. Mox Opal. I mean, I would Mental Misstep like Ancestral Recall, but, you know, if they want to, like, tap their Mana Vault or something, I'm going to let them do it. A Time Walk. So I probably do need to Mindbreak Trap this. Okay, that resolves. We are going to get to Strip Mine their Saga. 4/4 Construct. Phyrexian Metamorph. This is something I want to force a will. I mean, probably, right? I think I'm committed to doing this. I am going to hang on to that Mental Misstep. Because we just don't have any other interaction. Ancestral off the top would just be really brutal. Okay. Okay, just had a little phone call there. But all right, yes, we drew the Rootwalla, and that means we're going to get Vengevine into play here. So let's go ahead and do this Bazaar activation. Okay, another force. I like that. I'm glad I hung on to the Mental Misstep now. Let's discard Rootwalla, Squee. Deal to these triggers. Let's get our Vengevine back. Let's strip our opponent off the... I guess maybe I should have attacked with a Vengevine first. I'm sure they're just not going to block anyway. But they are dealing a bunch of damage themselves with a Vault in the Crypt. And we can chump block their Construct. So I think this is a pretty good position. Alright, they lost a Crypt Flip. They go to 8 off the Mana Vault. So they're playing a Grim Monolith here. Is this something I want to force? The thing is they're taking damage off their Mana Vault and Mana Crypt. And I'll find a Force of Vigor eventually. Yeah, I think I need to save Force of Negation for something that matters. If I attack with everything and they want to block and the Vengevine and take 2, that's going to be cool with me. Ancestral Recall. Okay, the Mental Misstep paying off here. Okay. And then are we attacking or what are we doing here? Yeah, so I'll just do this attack and get them down to 6. I think that's worthwhile. Wasteland, huh? Well, I think I can activate the Bazaar here. Master of Death, Squee, Bazaar. And yeah, am I going to do this attack? I think so. They go to 6. Now, do I want to Wasteland their Ancient? See, the thing is they have plenty of mana. I guess I don't want them to untap the Mana Vault, but they would have to take a bunch of damage off the tomb anyway. Maybe they tap Grim Monolith and Mox Opal, untap the Mana Vault, but that wouldn't use the tomb. I think the plan here is for our opponent to crypt themselves twice or draw into stuff. Yeah, so they are going to untap the Mana Vault. And they won the crypt flip. Here's a Saga, but we've got Wasteland, so it's no worries. Yeah, the opponent chooses not to attack. Makes sense. We get our boys back. The always yes doesn't work for some reason. It seems confused about... Oh, there it goes. Okay. Well... Anyway. Ooh, Rootwalla. Well, we drew a Rootwalla, so let's activate Bazaar. And discard Rootwalla. Squee. Bazaar. Play Wasteland. And we'll just Wasteland the Saga. I guess it doesn't really matter when I do it. I'll do it now. As long as they have no cards in hand. And we've got 2 Force of Wills they got to beat. All right, here we go. Mana Crypt. I lost the flip. Okay. Workshop does not matter. Get back the Squee. Another Force. So do I attack with a squad and put them to 1? And at least turn them off of... Yeah, because then they're dead next turn. Because they can only block 1 guy next turn and they'll be at 1. And they're shut off from Ancient Tomb this way. So do I activate Bazaar? with our triple force hand. I don't think it matters. I guess I'm just gonna hold it up here. I guess if the opponent plays Tabernacle. Okay, we won the flip there. All right, so we had some illegitimate wins versus this deck in the last league, but these were very legitimate. Very happy to see the third Mindbreak Trap there in the sideboard. Yeah, I feel like this is a big deck in the metagame, so I'm happy to beat it. All right. Okay, on the play for round 3, and we have a pretty swell opening hand here. I'm going to keep. We're going to put out a lot of power and have Force back up. Yeah, I would like to probe, but it's my only blue card for Force, so I'm not gonna. It looks like we are gonna get to probe. So Poxwalkers, Rootwalla. Well, yeah, we're not gonna get to probe. I need to put the Masters of Death in the graveyard. And the other choice is to discard the Gitaxian Probe, and then we still don't get to probe. Yeah, so we're gonna have 16 power in play. So it needs to be like turn 1 tabby from our opponent, or they need to like do the Jewel Shops thing with Force backup turn 1. All right, it's a Jewel Shoppy looking start for my opponent. A Monolith, sure. What we got here? A Mystic Forge. Well, I think I have to force this one, right? And hope that they don't continue to win. Okay, they be forcing back. Yeah, that's pretty good. If they're playing blue cards, maybe this Mystic Forge isn't that broken. Ooh, and they do pass the turn. So we could win here on our next turn because we're going to attack for... No, we're only attacking for 12, not 16. Ooh, Chalice on 0. That's going to be good. I'm playing that. Okay. Had to deal with some phone calls there. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to activate Bazaar, right? I don't see a reason not to. So, yeah, we're just going to discard the Master of Death, Force of Negation, Force of Vigor. There was some way I could Force of Vigor my opponent. You know, maybe I would not strip mine them, but we're strip mining them. Then we are getting in. I feel a lot better about this Mystic Forge now that I've got this Chalice for 0, so. They only have 2 mana right now. Okay, opponent wins their flip, but if we're attacking again, they're probably dead. So that's an Ancient Tomb. Oh, but they do hit the 1 ring. Okay, so they're not dead. They are going to be taking damage from it. So they could lose the Crypt Flip, and then it would make it... Their Ancient Tomb would put them at dead. So... Serum Powder. So, yeah, I think I'm going to activate Bazaar, right? Another Wasteland. So I don't really need the hollow one. I think I have enough power in play. So I'm just going to keep doing this. So I guess we'll see if they take damage off the Crypt Flip. If they don't, then maybe I'll Wasteland the Tomb. But if they win the flip, or if they lose the flip, then we don't need to, don't care. Okay, they lost the flip, so we can just let the Tomb sit, and they're going to be dead next turn to the 1 ring. Yeah, drawing some cards. I mean, maybe they can pull this out. I would be impressed. Okay, Mishra's Workshop. That might help them do it. Okay, and there's a concession. Nice. I don't know how good the misstep is here. But it is a blue card. And they're going to play some... I mean, if they're playing Force of Will, they got to be playing Ancestral Recall, right? So I think we're just going to run back the same sideboarding. I kind of still wish I had the 4th Mindbreak Trap. Well, we have this cool Super Mindbreak Trap hand, but I mean, it's definitely a mulligan. No Bazaar. And yeah, we have this cool, you know, Force of Vigor hand, but there's no Bazaar. Man, we're having a little trouble drawing the Bazaars today. It's going to be hard to win going to 4. So maybe, do we just keep like a Force of Vigor Wasteland hand? I think my the number of games I've won without Bazaar of Baghdad in my opening hand are very low. But on the other hand, I don't really know if you can win with like a Bazaar hand with no interaction. So the opponent's gonna know the sad truth. I don't care about wastelanding them off this Ballin's Tomb. That is at least damaging my opponent. The One Ring. All right, Force of Negation, pitching Master of Death. If they do nothing else, I'll probably wasteland them off the tomb. So a blue card or a Bazaar here. Okay, I'm gonna have to wasteland them off the tomb. Okay, they are at least doing nothing, so we just gotta rip a Bazaar or a blue card. The blue card. This Saga is not a problem yet. Okay, strip mine so we can just save our Force of Vigor here. Opponent is just passing, that's cool. There's the Bazaar, we did it. So do I activate now? I think I'm gonna wait. Just because this Master of Death, pretty clutch. Here's the tomb. Okay, so let's do this. So Serum Powder, Master of Death. I think I'm probably gonna take my chances with just discarding the Vengevine. That's an okay one to have in the graveyard. And we'll just have to accept not having Force of Vigor in our life here. Rootwalla. So we can get the Vengevine into play this turn, and that seems worth doing. So we'll discard Rootwalla. Do want to wasteland them off the tomb. So I guess I'm just going to discard Force of Vigor. If I did discard Wasteland, we could be holding up double Force. Right? And so maybe that actually is preferable than wastelanding them here. We're going to discard Rootwalla, Force of Vigor. Yeah. I mean, this Wasteland's pretty good, but double Force seems good too. All right, I'm going to discard Wasteland. Play the Hollow One. Get back the Vengevine. Get him to 12. Okay. So if they want to use this Ancient Tomb, they can only, well, if they can use it one more time. They don't accomplish anything else. Island. Okay, there's a tomb use. They're going to play a Phyrexian Metamorph. And do what, like copy my Hollow One? Honestly, okay, the opponent goes ahead and I guess it would be worth forcing because they're at 8 life. Cool. Okay, here we go. It looks like maybe our opponent is a CounterVine player. They also have some PO finishes. Clamovis. But anyway, we don't have Bazaar, so I'm going to mulligan. We do have Bazaar, so I'm going to keep. Throw back a Serum Powder. I mean, if it's like PO, then, you know, we might be in trouble here. Cali on 0, so there probably is Bazaar. So the good news is we have a pretty strong hand here. And so what we can do is Noxious Revival. This Vengevine. Is that worth doing? The thing is, they're going to get it back anyway. And then we can't Hollowvine back our Bazaar. Sorry, not just Revival, back our own Bazaar if they Wasteland us. I think the Bazaar game is probably more important, and so I'm going to take 4 here. Okay, we drew our own Master of Death. So maybe we'll find our own Vengevine, but we do not. So it's going to be Blazing Rootwalla. Probably just Squee Master of Death, honestly. So we're putting this into play. Have our own Hollow 1. At least stave off their Vengevine in the short term. Although, I would probably just trade a Rootwalla for it. Alright, they're activating Bazaar. So they have another Vengevine in the graveyard. We thankfully have a Noxious Revival for our own Bazaar. So do I want to just trade a Rootwalla here? I think so. We have many more Rootwallas coming. So let's get back our Bazaar. And let's get back our draw engine. Let's play Bazaar and activate. Well, we have a bunch of chump blockers. That is the good news. Discard Squee, Master of Death. Probably. No, I think I need to put a couple Rootwallas in play to trade with their Rootwallas. Maybe one Rootwalla to trade with their Rootwalla. Fine. Then I'm going to attack, but I guess they're just not going to not block. Maybe I should have put in 2 Rootwallas. All right, we'll do it next turn. The mirror is a strange and weird thing. They're going to get back their Wasteland, but I'll get back my Bazaar. So they get their Squeeze back. They activate Bazaar. And they're going to get their own Vengevine, their other Vengevine back here. So we know they have Wasteland. So I can't really Noxious Revival it. And so I guess we're just in a pretty bad spot here. I guess I, should have put out my other Rootwallas. At least one more. And a hollow one. All right, well, they just have it all. I can chump block. Only take 6. I mean, it's probably the best plan. We do have plenty more Rootwallas. Get back my Bazaar, but I'm at 5, so good. We'll need to have a pretty strong Bazaar here, I would say. I guess attacking with a hollow one was just completely wrong. Yeah. Discard some Rootwallas and a Squee. And they can easily just attack for enough to kill us. All right, cool. Okay, so we get to bring in the Graveyard Hate and maybe the Furies. So Force of Negation. Yeah, I think the Forces probably just come out. I'm inclined to do something like this. The thing is we don't have Force of Negation to protect Force of Vigor. Well, it doesn't do all that much anyway. Yeah, I think I just want to run this. All right, well, we've got a pretty sick hand here with the Leyline, the Trap, some Rootwallas to put into play, and Wasteland. Almost everything you could ask for. Okay. Leyline is in. I will play Bazaar and activate it. All right, Vengevine is excellent. Okay, this is going much better than the first game. Looks like they have a surgical extraction. All right, that's cool. Okay, so our Vengevines have been extracted. We do have 2 power in play. Maybe surgical extraction is worth thinking about as something better than Ravenous Trap. Let's see what they get to put into play here. They just discard a bunch of stuff. Cool, and we get to Wasteland them. It seems like a good spot for us. I'll Wasteland their Bazaar. Get in for 2. I guess I could have done this pre-combat. But I'll discard a Ravenous Trap. It didn't seem like there was much chance of putting in... I'm not sure when the most optimal time is, but definitely on our turn. I guess there was no chance of putting in Vengevine to play, but I guess there's no reason not to do it. Pre-combat anyway. Okay, the opponent has Wasteland. That's cool. Surgical extraction. Nice. All right, so yeah, the opponent surgicaled all our stuff, but I don't think they can really do anything. Might as well get Squee back for Fury purposes. Noxious Revival, potentially, could come in handy. We need to Wasteland twice for some reason. We should be able to just attack for 2 more turns here. They just click through their turn. So we get to put them to 2. Hit their Bazaar. Okay. Need to put in quite a few things without using their graveyard here for them to pull it out. All right, so opponent does manage to hit 2 Rootwallas. Yeah, and I can't Ravenous Trap that or anything. They don't go to the graveyard. Ooh, and they have a hollow one. Okay, okay. I went about as well as it could for them. So Fury would be a sick draw here, or another. No, there's no chance of Bazaar. Another Ravenous Trap. Not doing a whole lot. Well, let's take them off Bazaar. So let's see. If I attack with a squad, I think both of us just end up with nothing. mean, I'm playing 4 Furies, but on the other hand, so are they. And I don't have Bazaars in my deck, so I think it's best to try to draw a Fury. Of course, my opponent instantly has their Fury. All right. So they're going to get to beat down with their Hollow One. Nope, they don't attack. Okay. Wow, we found our own Fury. So I can take out their Hollow One. Well, they're not attacking, so I'm going to pass here. What I want to do is get this Rootwalla into play via Madness. They don't have any cards in hand and have a ways to go. Used up 2 Bazaars. They can't, like, Noxious Revival. Not that they have a graveyard anyway. Okay, so the opponent has Echoing Deeps, but they only have our Wasteland to copy. Funnily enough. But Wasteland really doesn't matter because we don't have any Bazaars anyway. Okay, so we get to discard here. And so do I just discard the Poxwalkers or do I just put the Rootwalla into play? I think I'll get the Poxwalkers out, right? I guess we'll see if they have yet another Surgical. Okay, so I'm just going to chill here. So we should be getting Poxwalker. Well, if they have like a Fury, it's going to be crazy. Although we could just discard Basking Rootwalla again next turn and rebuild our board. Or at least we'd have Rootwalla and Poxwalker. Okay, I think we're going to get it here. Here's the Fury. Take out their Hollow One. There's a concession. Awesome. All right, for game 3, do I want to do anything different? I could maybe make these Ravenous Traps. Could bring back the 4th Poxwalker. Does seem a little underwhelming, to be honest. And we could very likely have the kind of scrappy game that we just did. Although if Leyline's not in my opener... Alright, I guess we'll just have to run the Ravenous Traps. So this hand has the Leyline, but no Bazaar, and it does have Powder, so let's Powder. Alright, this hand has Bazaar and Force of Vigor for their Leyline. And I don't see a reason not to Force of Vigor in their end step. Because they might play a Hollow One here. So I could Ravenous Trap them right now. Don't think that's needed. I'm going to take out the Leyline. Do I trap them? Just to get a Poxwalker? And a Master of Death? I mean, it is pretty good with their Bazaar. I think I am going to do it. I don't want them to get the Poxwalker into play, and I don't want them to get their Master of Death back. Noxious Revival. Okay. I think I can live with this exchange. Another Ravenous Trap. That seems okay. Okay, so what do we want here? We want the Wasteland. Blazing. So I think we just have to lose the Fury here, is what I'm trying to say. Put a couple power in play. Put the hollow one into play. And so we can trap them again and then Wasteland and hope that it is good. And it's kind of good news that they had to burn the Noxious Revival on that Master of Death rather than on something good. So they're putting a Rootwalla into play. So I can't trap them anyway. Right, because that thing did not go into the graveyard technically. Okay. But I could trap them now and take care of that Master of Death. Would rather get their Bazaar removed, though, is the thing. Yeah, I don't think I care about the Master of Death that much. Noxious Revival. That seems not bad. Okay. So let's attack. We are going to chump. Makes sense. And I am going to Wasteland them off of Bazaar. Then we'll Noxious Revival our Bazaar back on their upkeep. Do we have a Surgical? We do not. Okay, opponent concedes. Nice. Fought back from losing the first game there. I think Surgical might be better than the 4x Ravenous Trap. Especially like Ravenous Trap in multiples. The CounterVine mirror, extremely underwhelming. And so yeah, I don't know how much you're missing out by just playing Surgicals against Dredge. So interesting. Anyway, on to round 5 for a trophy match. Okay, we're going to be on the draw for round 5. So this hand does not have Bazaar. And it does have Powder. I'm gonna Powder. And I'm gonna Powder again. And I'm gonna keep. Okay. What do we got? Urza's Saga. Well, we have Strip Mine for that. Ruby. Okay. Nice Blazing Rootwalla. So, you know, I could Bazaar and maybe get this Vengevine going, but I am not going to screw around and just Strip Mine this Saga. Okay. Let's Strip Mine the Saga. Okay, moving into the opponent's main phase. All right, so they have a Wasteland, but we have 3 Bazaars, so I'm not worried about it. We have our own Wasteland, but yeah, I'm happy to just activate Bazaar. Yeah, this hand, or this is pretty swell. So we'll discard the Vengevine, Rootwalla. I mean, I could not discard the Vengevine and Force of Vigor their Ruby, but that seems crazy. Yeah, let's just put 8 power on the board. All right, this Rootwalla happens. Here comes the hollow one. Vengevine trigger. We're going to Force of Will, the Vengevine. I mean, the hollow one. That's cool. They'll get to attack for 4. All right, we'll see what the opponent can do on their next turn here. I imagine if I'm the opponent, I would feel a lot of pressure to Wasteland us. There's going to be a huge blowout when we just play another Bazaar. Jet. Yeah, there's the Wasteland. So a green card is suddenly like an insane draw. Back our Squee. We have 3 chances to find a green card here. Hollow one, that's pretty silly. We'll play Bazaar and activate it. We find the green card. Discard Poxwalkers and some Squees. Get in for 5. Play the hollow one. And we're going to Vigor them on the upkeep. And I'd be impressed if they can come back from this. All right, there's a concession. So this was our opponent's last list from like 2023, some kind of Lurrus deck. I don't know if it's blue-white Lurrus. I don't have the option to bring in Karakas anyway because we're not playing it. So what kind of changes do I want to make? Probably don't care about Mindbreak Trap or Fury, right? I think it's just run it back. I mean, the Misstep, the Chalice are probably pretty good. And can't really see bringing in Fury based on what we saw there. All right. And the opponent is revealing Lurrus. That probably happened in game 1. I didn't even notice. But anyway, this hand doesn't have Bazaar. And I'm going to mulligan. Still doesn't have Bazaar. The opponent's mulliganing to 5 also. That's cool. Okay, we found the Bazaar. I'm going to keep. Okay. The opponent kept 5. We're going to keep 5. And I think that just on a mulligan to 5 situation, the Noxious Revivals are just stupid good, and that the Poxwalkers and Vengevine require too much setup. We'll put those on the bottom and run with this. All right, it's a Tundra into Mox Ruby. They have not played the Lavinia yet. That's good news for us. At least have a chance to maybe force it. We hit the Wasteland. Pretty hard not just to get this hollow one into play. So we're going to aim for that. Okay, so we'll discard Squee. I guess 1 Noxious Revival is fine. Or I could give up on the Force of Vigor Dream. I mean, I just love Noxious Revival. The thing is, if I bottom 1 Noxious Revival and then we Force of Vigor or something, we don't have Noxious Revival anymore. All right, I'm just going to discard Noxious Revival. Play Hollow one. Okay. I mean, maybe I should be like super concerned about Lavinia and just wasted my opponent here on their 5-land hand. Dress down. Okay, so maybe they are still playing this crazy Phyrexian Dreadnought deck. Can't do anything about the dress down, but the Force of Vigor is going to be good. If they're going to be wasting mana doing Dreadnought things, then yeah, you can have the swords. If they Dreadnought, what we can do is Force of Vigor the dress down and the Ruby in response. And then they lose the Dreadnought, its own ability. Okay, that happens. So their Dreadnought is Dunzo. And we are going to Wasteland them and have this crazy Squee engine going. They did not play a land that turn. I'm just not going to waste any time here. Yeah, it seems like we're in a pretty good spot now. Although if they slam Wasteland, you know, I don't have Noxious Revival to get my Bazaar back. Well, they slam Wasteland. So we just need to find a Noxious Revival, another Bazaar. Okay, Okay, the opponent is missing on lands, so that's good news. We draw a Serum Powder, we'll pass it back. Opponent does nothing. Okay, so we drew a Blazing Rootwalla, which means we can get a clock into play next turn. Which I think is not nothing. Okay, the opponent continues to do nothing. Force of Will, yeah, blue card here is not bad. Alright, the Mighty Rootwalla is coming in for attacks. Opponent continues to do nothing. Alright, we'll get in for 1 here. I think it makes sense to discard Squee. Opponent has found a Wasteland. Get Squee back. By discarding the Squeeze, like if we end up forcing something, we still have a bunch of cards in our hand that we can discard. If we need to like Fury or Force, we have a good chance of getting Rootwallas into play. Mox Sapphire from the opponent. All right, I'm going to let that go. They are choosing to pass. Okay. Okay, so we can get in for 1. Then discard the Poxwalkers. Whoops. And some more Squeeze. Ooh, they're doing something. Dress down. Yeah, I think I'm once again going to be just trying to do some kind of Force of Vigor shenanigan. We have Force backup for the Force of Vigor, so seems pretty good. Mox Pearl. That's probably a good one for them. Strip Mine. Ancestral Recall. So I'm probably going to force this one. Seems worth doing. So they're just doing nothing. I was thinking about maybe forcing their Moxen during their attack step, but then they could just play the Dreadnought off of a Wasteland or Strip Mine. But now we'll let the Dress Down go, and now I am going to Vigor their Moxen. And I think leaving them on no colored mana is smart. Ooh, but they get their Doorkeeper Thrall into play. Well, that's potentially bad news, because now they can just play Dreadnought at their leisure. Get our Squeeze back. Does that turn off the Poxwalker? I don't think so. Well, we are not getting there in terms of finding a second Bazaar or a Noxious Revival. And we can no longer attack. Their attack is stymied by the old Doorkeeper Thrall. Okay, but they aren't slamming Dreadnoughts, so that is good news. Chalice on 0. Let's do it. I don't know how many more Moxes they play. Probably a couple, at least, would be my guess. So they fetched the Lurrus. So they have that in hand. Opponent is not attacking. All right, we've got ourselves a Rootwalla. So that Poxwalkers is coming down soon. Having the Poxwalker in play is actually a pretty big game, right? We're at 23 life. This thing can absorb a Dreadnought attack. The opponent's attacking us in the skies. I wonder if Dreadnought's about to come down. No, it is not. That makes me think they have something for my Rootwalla, though. Noxious Revival. Okay. So let's not attack into whatever they have. That's obviously coming. But we will madness into play our Rootwalla and get back our Poxwalker. Well, dang, that's gonna shut off my my fun, huh? So we discard this Basking Rootwalla into play. And then, yeah, and that just exiles it, the priest there. So yeah, that's gonna make it pretty hard to win. Although if what we could do is get some hollow ones into play potentially. Brainstorm. They crack a strand after their brainstorm and get into the skies. They must have a plan if I try to double block their containment priest, right? They must have like a Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, I guess I'll not walk into that trap. Okay, let's get back our Bazaar. Okay, they let us do that. Okay, we'll play the Bazaar. Let's go ahead and activate. Yeah, they can Wasteland Bazaar in response. That's cool. So we'll just discard some Squees. And I guess I'll try attacking for 2. And I'm going to save this Wasteland for a Saga. I don't think taking them off of Tundra. Another Doorkeeper. Cool. Well, maybe I should have taken the trade with the Containment Priest then, but they must have a Swords to Plowshares. It'd be absolutely crazy to let me trade 2 Rootwallas for the Containment Priest there. Well, they do have Lurrus. I guess maybe I should have thought about that in Wastelanding their Tundra. But, well, I think we're... Well, now they can play the Phyrexian Dreadnought from the graveyard. Okay, I guess I definitely should have Wastelanded the Tundra. Alright, well, I felt like I had this one wrapped up, but it got away from me. And not Wastelanding their Tundra there did not help. Another Squee. Okay, cool. We can... Okay, knowing what I know now, I am going to bring in the Furies for the Poxwalkers, which are bad against hate, and Fury kills some of their hate stuff, so let's do it. Okay, let's go first. All right, no Bazaar, but we do have a Powder. And we have a Bazaar and a bit of a draw engine, so let's keep. And so I have a Squee and a Serum Powder that I'm comfortable discarding. Although if I do wait, I can discard the Master of Death potentially. But I think maybe actually I am waiting here. No, I'm gonna just do it. Squee, Serum Powder. See now, maybe I have the regret. Maybe I should have waited. But I probably don't need the turn 1 Force of Negation, but I think I'd probably better keep it up. So that means I should probably just discard Force of Vigor. At least I have the second Bazaar here. So the need to have Noxious Revival is not so extreme. But yeah, I think I blew it there. I was just thinking about how if I drew a hollow one, I want to get it into play. But I think probably the smart play was just to chill. Opponent's coming in with that Black Lotus. So do we want to force this? I think that's what we're supposed to do, right? Opponent has that Pithing Needle, okay? Glad I have this Force of Vigor here. And I'm just going to go ahead and, well, I'll do it in their end step. So if they're able to force back here, it's going to be rough. Okay, they are not able to force back. We get back our Squee. And we draw our own strip mine. What do I want to play here? Do I strip mine them off of their strip mine? I think I let them try to strip mine me and play my other Bazaar here. And then probably okay just cycling whatever I draw into the graveyard. If it's more Bazaars or... I mean, there's some things I don't mind putting in the graveyard. Okay, well, I think I want the hollow one in play. So we'll let strip mine go and play the hollow one. And I think I'll try to find more Squeeze. We do not, but okay. Opponent looks to be just passing the turn. So that force on the Lotus seems like it was probably pretty good. We get back a Squee. Rootwalla. Alright, let's activate Bazaar. 1, 2, 3. I guess we're just trying to fade the Tabernacle here. Get in for 4. Play the other hollow one. I guess I'll hold up the other Bazaar, but I think I'm going to activate it on their end step. And try to continue to find more Squeeze or Masters of Death. They do have a Saga here. That's a good one for them, but it is a little slow. Okay, we get a Rootwalla. That's good for our clock. Get back our Squee. Another Squee. Well, let's activate Bazaar. We get there on the Wasteland, so... Yeah, if they don't have a Tabernacle, it's going to be the game. We shall attack for a bunch. All right, they are taking it. We're down to 6. Go into their upkeep. We will take out that Saga. Nice. Well, we did it. This was a pretty sweet league. We had the mulligan to 0, and we also had the keep a hand without Bazaar and still win achievements unlocked. So that was pretty cool. And so the other achievement is that it is my first vintage trophy. Yeah, there I am in the trophy race, folks. Count it. 1 vintage trophy. But yeah, we beat some kind of Izzet deck with Dreadhordes and then got revenge on blue shops. CounterVine with a surgical extraction was pretty cool. And this blue-white Dreadnought deck was pretty cool too. That's a pretty neat thing to be doing with Lurrus. But I'm a fan of the Bazaar of Baghdad's, and yeah, this deck basically crushed. So yeah, the third Mindbreak Trap was just super clutch against those blue shops decks. And I think I probably will be giving Surgical Extraction a position in the Ravenous Trap spot. And then the other thing I still think about is like Pyrokinesis over Fury. But the ability to get Vengevines into play can be pretty big game. All right, well, that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, bye.